Come and dream with me.
Hello and welcome to What Do You Want to Watch, the Explosion Network's premier media podcast. Every fortnight we get together to talk about TV, movies, online content, and help you answer the question, is Morbin time finally over? Yes, I think it is. You know,
was Morbin time ever
really on? I don't know.
Yeah, some would say no.
Yeah. So if you didn't know, Dylan was right last episode. It wasn't necessarily re-released, but it was being expanded again because it had gone down to 83 cinemas in the US, and then expanded out to 1,000 cinemas. And over that week, it earned $474,683. You would say, hey, that's pretty good. That averaged out to $457 per cinema. That's not even per screening. Or per day. That's for a whole week.
It did terrible.
It did terrible.
Yeah, and it's exactly literally what I said last time is exactly what happened. So
yeah,
they don't understand. They don't understand it was a joke, and they were like, "Oh, everyone really loves this movie." Put it in cinema,
but people still went and go. People did
couple people.
Couple people, okay. I'll give you that. Alright, on today's episode, we'll be talking about what's in our watch history. We're talking about some news, giving some time to some trailers, and talking about this week's top 3. We'll kick things off with the big movie of this past week. Just came out. Everybody's talking about it. Jurassic World Dominion. Of course, here at What Do You Want to Watch, we've done a 6-week build up to this movie with our road to the Jurassic World Dominion. In which we, watched all the Jurassic Park and World movies to prepare. A lot of build up, a lot of fan getting ready, getting the hype, So Dylan, of course, we got a spoiler cast out right now. But Dylan, what do you think of, for people who haven't watched the movie? Some would call them the fortunate ones who have not watched the movie. What do you think of Jurassic World Dominion?
Yeah, Jurassic World Dominion, huge disappointment. Absolutely a terrible movie, I think. The further I've got from it, I think the worse I think it is. So that's where I'm at on that. I will fall into a weird minority where I actually liked Fallen Kingdom. I don't know, but I feel like if you hated Fallen Kingdom, there's no way you'll like this. But I just don't know who will like this movie. To be honest, I don't know who likes this movie. I don't know who this movie is for. Yeah. I feel like it's so boring. is the plainest way to put it.
Here's my interesting thought. So during our discussion of Fallen Kingdom, we jokingly said that movie was the last Jedi of that series of movies. And the director of the first one comes back to do the third one, and it's much worse. It's a movie. I feel like this is a movie that's trying to please everyone and ends up pleasing nobody. It's a movie that, is trying to be there for it's a movie for everybody. Because it is so family friendly, it's crazy. There's no blood or gore in this movie at all. For a movie that features a lot of dinosaurs eating people, there is barely any violence in this movie. It is pretty boring. It is a ridiculous plot. The premise, the catalyst of everybody getting together is ridiculous. The acting isn't terrible, but you can't get it. This is the movie that proves you can't live off charm and charisma and name value alone. Need to have a decent plot. They've kind of squandered all the build up they've had to this movie.
Yeah,
all the setup.
Yeah, none of it's exciting. It's very boring. Story's just nonsense. Not scary. Special effects aren't anything to write home about. There's no real
redeeming element.
redeeming factor. I don't think, no.
So yeah,
because I have a lot of I can understand people's problems with Fallen Kingdom, but I actually appreciate the direction it takes the story. I guess I understand it's not, like comparing it to Last Jedi is not exactly there because the story's nowhere near as good as Last Jedi, and it's nowhere near as good as a well-made film. But as far as like that movie ends and leaves the franchise in an interesting direction, and then this film more or less comes in and puts it right back, like takes 2 steps backwards.
Yeah, absolutely. So yeah, if you've watched the movie, go check out our spoiler cast, and we can all feel bad together. All right, season 3 of The Boys debuted last week, or the week before, I think, on Amazon Prime. Dylan has watched 6 episodes because he got advanced screeners, but then he got sidetracked with other things and wasn't able to write a preview. Check out the latest episode of Arcade Couch Between the Cushions to find out what that was.
I feel like I have like one like this dark period of like missing a couple things here.
I'm just reiterating what you said.
Yeah, I know, but this better not be continuing. This is like a short period joke.
I hope so. I hope it is a short period.
Continuing thing.
But yes, you were. The Boys is back. It's still as violent as ever. It's still as ballsy as ever. Or penis holy as ever. There's take an aim at anybody and everybody. This episode 4 that just released had the 2 of the moments that you brought up to me before. So this had someone's favorite hashtag and had the clear parody of Kendall Jenner's Pepsi ad. Which, wow. Yeah, I'm really enjoying the season so far. I think they quickly moved from like the end of last season where it could have been like Huey being against the rest of the boys because he's decided to take a government job, and like there was a mystery there at the end of this. There was a reveal about a certain character. They quickly like fill people in on what that is. So it's not like something that's dragged out over the whole season. I would say my only complaint so far is I feel like this Soldier Boy reveal has been dragged out too long, especially when he was like a key part of the marketing for this series. Like episode 4, spoilers, this is the one where he finally shows up in present day. But Dylan, what have you thought of The Boys season 3 so far?
I think it's a lot better than the second season. Not to say I dislike the second season, but I think it's a lot stronger. It's a lot wackier. Finding a lot of... I feel like it's not moving as slow. I feel like the second season was a bit slow. And it like spent a lot of time just like building and teasing up the stuff, whereas this season does what you're saying, where it's like, all right, let's just get that out of the way and let's move this thing. The Soldier Boy thing, I guess, would be the one thing. I don't have the similar complaint only because I was in the privileged position where I binged it in one day, so I didn't have that like, oh my god, this is taking forever. I just watched it and I was like, oh yeah, Soldier Boy's here now. Like, so that's the thing. But yeah, the show is what The Boys always has been. Even more so, there's a lot of like, even in that first episode, there's something to do with a penis that I was like, oh my god.
I saw someone call it a dick detonation.
Yep, well, it's probably about spot on. Yeah, there's a lot of wild shit that happens in the show, but it's very entertaining. I'm definitely enjoying it and keen to watch those final 2 episodes. Which I don't know how many seasons they've already confirmed it's going for a 4th season.
Yes, I'm
hoping at the end of the season we're sort of in a certain direction that the comics eventually gets to, but we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah,
this show is very different to the comics though, so it's hard for.
Oh yeah, it completely like. It is almost nothing like the comics, other than, they pull certain characters for certain points, and I guess they go to Russia at one point in the comics as well, but for a completely different reason. So, The Boys still great. Still 4 more episodes to go. So, man, your boy Anthony Starr still is surprisingly gotten even creepier this season. But it's not like it's interesting because it's not like as messed up like visually, but he is more menacing and scary this season than he was the last ones.
Yeah, it's because he starts. I don't know if it's too much of a spoiler, but he starts to get more power back that
Well, he's
He,
more.
does, he starts the season in a position where he's losing power, and then something happens like episode 2 or 3, I can't remember, where starts to like get some power back, and then he's a lot more menacing.
Yeah, so the boys, check it out. So I watched season 2 of Hacks, which just finished its second season. I pretty much binged it all in one day. So, of course, this is the series in which Gene Smart plays a long-time stand-up comedian who had a long residency at Las Vegas. At the end of the first season, she loses that and decides she's going to go do stand-up on tour around, the country or whatever, doing like new type of stand-up to what she was doing. There was a lot of there's a conflict that's set up right at the end of last season as like this cliffhanger thing that is quickly resolved in the first like 2 episodes, and we kind of move forward into this new dynamic, this new idea of building this stand-up show over the course of this season. I found it really interesting as someone who enjoys stand-up comedy. I feel like this is a really cool look at the process of how one goes about that and how hard it is, and kind of the shitty jobs you have to do along the way. Like at one point she does a show at a county fair, and during her show, the prize cow is giving birth, and like that's the thing. The big competition at the fair is like how much does a cow weigh? So or what time the cow is born. So everybody starts leaving a show because a cow is born. Of course, they show the birth live on the screens behind us. So good times. But yeah, it's really fantastic. Like a great show. I would definitely recommend checking it out. It's on Stan. Season 1 was great. I think season 2 might be better. It's hard to say. It's different. So, and then it's clearly it leaves on a very interesting direction where people are it could kind of go anywhere in season 3, but it's kind of like it's one of those everybody goes to separate ways things at the end of the season. Yeah, I really dug it. I'm really enjoying it. I think you should all check out Hacks. Dylan, you finished watching Conversation with Friends.
Yeah, I don't think I liked it.
Whoa.
I don't think I liked it. I actually think the characters all sort of become rather unlikable. I wasn't sure who I was rooting for or cared for at the end. There's some interesting things, I guess, like character bits that come up every now and then, but then, yeah, all in all, I just felt the characters were sort of really unlikable, or just, I don't know, like, it's weird to say privileged, but I mean, I don't know, maybe they were. Maybe they all just seemed rather privileged, and it's just all the problems I could vibe with. So, yeah, I like the acting was all good and it shot well enough, and I like the general setting and the idea of the show and everything like that. But yeah, I don't think I liked it in the end.
All right. Well, let's talk about a show I know for a fact you did like. Over on All New Marvelcast, we did a full discussion of the first episode of Ms. Marvel, the latest MCU show on Disney Plus, in which a young Kamala Khan is a big super fan of Avengers, and happens to upon a bracelet that gives her cosmic powers. But Dylan, what do you think of the first episode of Ms. Marvel?
First episode was fantastic. I think it was a lot of fun. It's got a wholly different vibe to any of the other MCU shows. It just has a very like teen, fun vibe, like romance stuff. Like, I don't know, just like a teen fun vibe thing that you'd see in your classic sort of movies and stuff. Just a girl who loves the superheroes. She loves Captain Marvel, wants to dress up and be her. And then for the majority of this episode, you kind of forget that she's eventually going to have powers, because that doesn't happen until near the end of the first episode. But yeah, I thought the first episode was really, really good. I'm definitely keen to watch the rest. I have a little bit of worries about how it will go forward now that she has powers, but there's only one way to find out. I will keep watching.
Yeah, I really dug it as well. I think it's I think it's probably the best opening episode of an MCU show so far. I think, Kamala is perfectly cast. Aman Vellani does an amazing job playing this young Pakistani American girl. I love the whole family dynamic. Love the visual stuff in the show, like different graphics and like different ways of shooting stuff. Like I saw on Twitter, they like showed the shot of how they filmed the shot of her like crashing back on the back of the couch. It's like they put the camera on like a long arm and just throw it over the top of the couch and someone catches it. This is ridiculous. But yeah, I'm really digging it. Are you surprised by the negative, like the review bombing and that kind of stuff, or is it just?
No. I mean,
it's a person of color in an MCU.
It's a person of color
or a female, yeah. And she's both,
person of color, female. Yeah, it's a Muslim superhero. I mean, let's boil it down. Like that's gonna a bunch of people are gonna review bomb it. As sad as that is to say, that's totally expected. Shouldn't be, but that is expected.
Yeah, so that's disappointing. So yeah, check out All in Marvelcast every Wednesday night after Ms. Marvel. We'll release an episode breaking down each episode. So yeah.
I did see someone tweet today, I can't remember who it was now actually off the top of my head. Saw someone tweet that and they are Muslim, but they tweeted like they reckon the representation in that one episode is better than 99.9% of all Hollywood movies. So
that's probably fair. All right. So I continued my Star Trek kind of binge. I watched the animated show, Star Trek Lower Decks. This was a bunch of characters who like work on like in like engineering.
Lower deck?
Lower decks. They're not on the bridge, pretty much. Yeah. They do random jobs. They have to occasionally like do the cleaning and like maintain the air ducts or whatever, and that kind of stuff. I think
beam up people.
Yeah, you've got Jack Quaid. He plays one of these, plays like a nerdy dude who wants to work his way up the chain. Who, desperately wants to be captain, but is kind of nervous and doesn't like terrible situations, that kind of things. And then you got Thane Newsome plays Beckett Mariner, who's like doesn't care, too cool for school, like super kind of is happy in whatever position she is at the moment, just kind of doing stuff and like going with the flow in Starfleet. I really enjoyed it. It's 2 seasons out so far. I believe a 3rd season is sometime this year. I mean, the animation is it's like crazy how much this looks like Final Space. But it kind of gives you, I guess, kind of maybe Futurama-ish drives. It's vibes. I mean, it's not like as wacky or crazy over the top as Futurama, but the other thing, this starship, it doesn't do first contacts. It does second contacts, in which they like fill them in on different rules and like do it. So it's not like they're not like a big fancy spaceship doing adventures and that kind of stuff. So it's a little bit more.
I've never even heard of this show. Where is this?
It's on Amazon Prime. Yeah. Okay. So yeah, I would recommend it. It's a lot of fun. There's also a bunch of like callbacks to different Star Trek stuff. Like they're super fans of Picard and Spock and all those people. So it's like, it's definitely got a fan element to it as well. So yeah, I really enjoy it. So yeah, I would recommend that. Dylan, you watched a movie called The Voyeurs, I believe on Amazon Prime, right?
The what?
The Voyeurs.
Oh, I heard The Voices or something. I don't know. The Voyeurs. Yeah. Voyeurs. It stars Sydney Sweeney and Justice Smith. They play this couple that move into a house. It's kind of like it's like a twist on Disturbia, which is of course a Rear Window, like all those sorts of like watching a neighbor thing.
That makes sense.
Yeah. So they move into this house. Just moved in together, young couple. They start noticing that across the way, their neighbors, like in the building opposite them, because they're like in New York or wherever, so they're like in these high-rise, buildings or whatever apartments. They start noticing that their neighbors fail to close their windows, and they're doing they're just having sex, like full out. And at first, it's like maybe we shouldn't watch this, and then they start watching, and then they get a little bit too interested in the lives of their neighbors, especially when they realize that when the wife goes away, or presumably wife or main partner, she leaves, the husband or partner, whatever he is, starts having, another girl over, and, they get a little bit too involved in these people's business, and it sort of just elevates from there as their obsession grows. I thought it was a fine thriller. I think the ending sort of goes off the rails a bit in far as like the direction the movie suddenly takes. I didn't mind the main twist, but there's a few sequences after that where I'm like, I don't know, like this is you're stretching this a bit thin at this point. But I enjoyed the cast. I thought it was pretty fun. It's like it's like a Rear Window but with more sex, I guess is the easiest way to put it, I guess.
Cool. So what drew you into watching this one? You're like,
I have no idea. I literally opened Amazon and it was there, and I went, "Oh,
okay,
I'll watch that." I didn't even read the synopsis.
I thought maybe you're like, I need to watch a Sydney Sweeney thing. I haven't got my Euphoria fix. Or you're like, hey, I need to check out this Natasha Dizo person because they're playing Sabine in Ahsoka.
No, but that was it was Connection, I guess.
Yeah.
But yeah, so she plays. I think she's the wife.
She's the wife, yeah.
Yeah, so she's the wife. No, I literally opened Amazon Prime. It was there. I went, Sydney Sweeney, Justice Smith. Sure, let's go. Didn't even know what it was about. Click play.
That's what happens.
Yep. Never even heard of it.
Never even heard of it.
Only came out last year. Should have heard of it. You would have thought I would have read something about this, but
I mean, we can get into a whole discussion of like, marketing of like streaming stuff and how so much of this stuff is like. I saw somebody going off that like the movie starring one of the guys from Top Gun is about to come out from the writers of some of the biggest movies of all time, starring Chris Hemsworth. It's about to drop on Netflix in 2 weeks, and nobody knows about it. So
no, knows about it. I'm really excited for that movie, but I never heard about it until a couple weeks ago.
Yeah. So yeah, that's the world we live in now. Stuff just.
But
drops.
it's funny, like, because there's some stuff that I could understand if it went over my head, but I'm like, this movie should have been like, the movie should have been on my radar. Like, it stars an actress I like from one of my favorite shows, and it's a genre I like. Like thriller. Like, why wasn't I aware of this? Yeah, so it'd be a bit weirder if it was. I can understand if I could miss, I don't know, sports document. You know what I mean? Like something a bit different. But I'm like, this should have been on my radar. Surely my Twitter's fucking targeted promotions would have been like, you follow all these Euphoria accounts and whatever else. Like you tweet about Euphoria. Here, Sydney Sweeney. Here's the movie.
But
no.
The new season only started this year, so I mean,
Yeah, I know, but still. Cool.
Anyway, so speaking of Amazon Prime, the documentary Street Gang, How We Got to Sesame Street, dropped on Amazon Prime, so I finally got around to watching it.
At first I was like, Street Gang? I wonder what's that about? And he said Sesame Street. I was like, all right.
Yeah, so this is the documentary that got released. It was part of Sundance last year, following the creation of Sesame Street and like kind of its rise. Really interesting look, I feel like, of a lot of the key voices behind the show, how much work they kind of put in to make it, how kind of difficult it was, and like it kind of explained certain aspects of the show. Like it was very much like the reason they put the show out is because kids were more able to sing jingles from different commercials than they were to do the alphabet. Like, hey, we should probably use this television stuff to like try and teach kids stuff. So like, hey, we'll do a show, and that is why each episode is like the letter of the day thing. It's like, because obviously back in the day things would be sponsored by. Today's episode was brought to you by Budweiser, so that's why it's like today's episode was brought to you by the letter A. Sorry, I was about to say the letter 7, and that would have been wrong.
Yeah.
But yeah, really interesting. Some interesting stories, I think, of especially. I didn't know this. Another person played Gordon, and then he decided he invented a black Muppet who like was very stereotypical black, and people like wrote in saying they didn't like it, particularly black people. So he quit the show and got recast by somebody else. The Gordon that most people would have known for several years.
So the Gordon most people know is not
the original Gordon.
He's not the potentially racist one.
No. He was trying to like do it's a whole thing. So, but yeah, really interesting, like crazy stuff. That's like they did a whole episode on after Mr. Hooper died about Mr. Hooper dying with Big Bird, and like kind of exploring that. It also like delves into a lot of like the Muppets and Jim Henson like comes a focal point, especially towards the second half, to the point where the documentary kind of ends with his passing. I would say that I would have loved to have gotten a bit more about like the different animation stuff in the show, because that was always something that interested me. It's also crazy watching this and like remembering like snippets here and there for like different cartoon things or bits. Like I remember watching that on television on the ABC way back in the day. So yeah, if you've got any affinity for, and it didn't even talk about Elmo, who I feel like is like a key figure, or like a lot of the modern Sesame Street, all the different characters they've got now. But yeah, I reckon you should definitely check it out. It's a lot of fun, interesting look at, and give you more appreciation for a show that's, I want to say, like 50 years old at this point. It's been around a while. Sesame Street. Street Gang. It's not a great title in my opinion.
So, you know.
I also watched Jagged. So this is a documentary as part of the series Music Box, which is like from the Ringer film crew. So from the people who did 30 for 30, they're doing Music Box, which does a lot of similar idea of like, let's do a documentary about music people, have a different director who project or whatever. So this one is about Alanis Morissette and the making of Jagged Little Pill, and kind of a lot of information here that I did not know. I thought she just released Jagged Little Pill was her first thing in the music industry. No, she had a whole Canadian pop star thing before, and that kind of shaped her into becoming the person who could make Jagged Little Pill. And then, I didn't realize how successful that album was, how much it kind of blew up and like became such a big deal. So it goes into all that. It also like goes into like the tour that she had, the band that she had during that tour, and like a lot of the guys have went on to other things. Like apparently one of them became a member of Jane's Addiction. Of course, Taylor Hawkins was the drummer on that tour, and he went on to Foo Fighters. So yeah, I found it very, very fascinating. It was surprising to read after that apparently Alanis Morissette was not happy with it. Like she didn't attend the premiere or whatever. So, but I found it really interesting. I think it's worth checking out. So that one is on Binge, as well as all the other Music Box ones. I think there's one on, I can't remember, the DMX, I think was another one they did. So, it's like, one of these documentaries.
Like saying, it's on the channel DMX. I was like,
no,
the channel's named after the rapper DMX. Did they do that after he died then?
No, I think it was before. I think this was released last year, so.
We know Alanis Morissette is God, right?
Yes. Okay. I think they talk about that a little, or no, they briefly mention it.
Yeah, they should.
All right. Dylan, you watched a film called Run, starring Sarah Paulson.
Yeah, Sarah Paulson. I've been wanting to watch this one for a while. Had it on Netflix Geeked. It's exactly what I wanted it to be. Nothing more, nothing less. It's just a quick old 90-minute, straight down the road thriller where this girl, she discovers. I'm trying to say the plot without spoiling it all because it's a rather short movie. But she starts discovering her mum is not giving her the pills that she probably needs or may possibly need. So this daughter's taken a whole bunch of pills every morning. She's got I can't remember what the fuck, like,
yeah, I know what you mean. There's a term for it. Like, she's healthy, but her mum's giving her stuff, so maybe she's not healthy.
Yeah.
To get attention or whatever, yeah.
Like, she's trying to keep her daughter down. Let's put it that way. Is that the... Yeah. Is it, yes. So, to what degree, though, TBD, and why TBD. But yeah, weird things happening with mum in that movie. It's pretty good. I like the young girl who does a good job. It's very fast paced, as I said. It's just it's a quick straight 90 minutes. Definitely doesn't overstay its welcome. And for that, I thank it. I liked the ending. It didn't like bullshit around. It got exactly where I wanted it to be. So overall, I think like it's nothing to write home about. It doesn't do anything grand or anything. But if you want a good old just straight thriller, these are good. I think this is good. I enjoyed it.
Cool. So on YouTube, Bo Burnham on the 1 year anniversary of Inside dropped Bo Burnham the Inside outtakes. Get it? Because Inside Out takes, which is kind of a behind the scenes / bonus footage / stuff that didn't make the cut of stuff. So there is alternate takes of a couple of different things, like All Eyes on Me. They have an alternate version of that. They have one of the more interesting things that I really appreciated was he would sync up several takes of some of the songs. Like he would have like 20 on screen, and then because he would screw up, like whenever he would screw up, they would like black out, and then whatever was the correct take would be the last one standing, So it'd show like a lot of these he did have to do like full intricate movements and get the sounds right, and like it took a long time to like get the perfect take of a lot of this stuff. So there's a lot of different bits. Of course, I think the podcast bit is the one that's kind of been doing the rounds. Like,
yeah, I'm saying that. It's the Joe Rogan podcast.
It's pretty funny. There is some pretty funny stuff and like some catchy music in here. But I can also appreciate that this probably wouldn't have worked inside.
No, that Joe Rogan podcast with that should have been in the main show. I haven't watched the full thing, but I've seen that, and that's quite fun.
Yeah, I would definitely recommend checking out the full thing. It is a great addition to the Inside universe.
How long is it?
It's an hour.
Okay.
Hour and a bit, maybe. So yeah. Definitely check it out, especially if you're a fan of Inside like I am. All right, let's move into the mandatory Netflix segment of the show. Dylan, you finally got around to watching one of your most anticipated shows of the year, Midnight Mass. Was it this year or last year? I can't remember.
It came out in 2021, I think. Let me just double check. Yeah, September 2021.
It's one of your most anticipated shows of 2021.
The thing...
It was on the list of shows you wish you'd watched in 2021.
Yeah, correct.
There we go.
Yeah. I finally got around to watching it. Loved it. Good shit. Nothing but bangers, Mike Flanagan. I don't know if he does bad at this stage. This show. So people, after he did The Haunting of Hill House, which was definitely a lot scarier and stuff, and slowly he's been doing a lot more, not just straight typical horror stuff, and people complain about that. But I still think it's great, because the thing about this is that the premise is that it's about Riley Flynn, right? So this is a guy who, at the start, you see he does a car, like he kills his girlfriend or would-be girlfriend or something at the time. I don't know, or runs over a girl. Something. Anyway, he kills someone, he drunken car accident. He goes to prison, skips ahead time, and now he's coming to this island where his parents live. He's out on jail finally. He has to return to the mainland like once a week to check in with his parole officer or whatever, but like he's coming there to sort of, sort his life out sort of thing. Not everyone on the community is like super religious. However, there is a large percentage that are, whether it be Christian, Catholic, whatever. I fucking confuse me. Either or. One of those ones, typical normal religion, Christian religion, I guess. They are led by a priest who's sort of gone missing because he went on a trip to step through Jesus's steps. So he's on a holiday, basically, like trekking around the country. Got to see what Jesus was. Anyway, this other priest shows up, who's played by Hamish Linklater. Yeah, this is the guy who's fucking fantastic in the show. So he plays this Father Paul guy who shows up, and a little bit of a weird younger priest. And then you've also got a bunch of other characters, including Rahul Kohli, who is absolutely the best thing he's ever done. Is this like he gives like phenomenal performance in this, and he was really good in The Haunting of Blind Man. Definitely that was really, really good. I think this is definitely a step up. He has a monologue in this that is, I think, the best acting I've seen him do, which is really good. And that's the thing. This show, the spooky, scary part of this is minimal. It is, you'll see there's some weird stuff, some bump in the night, some people start disappearing. It's only in the last couple episodes where things start to hit the fan, but it's not build up tension scary. It's just, it's there. You're not going to be it's a thing. It's more supernatural, but you're not being scared because it's not meant to be scary. It's just it's a supernatural thing. The thing is though, the show is just filled of great monologues or great 10-15 minute conversations of characters talking about life and how you'll die one day, and how there's a scene where two characters literally talk about death, and one of them is a churchgoer, and she talks about how, what she believes happens after you die. And then she's talking to this guy, the main character, who is not, he doesn't believe in anything. And he explains what he thinks is going to happen once he dies, or what he wants to happen. And I think the scene goes for 15 minutes. Just this girl and a guy sitting on the couch talking about life and death. And it's fucking fantastic. But I will say, this show is that's what the show is. The show's great performances, great actors being directed wonderfully. It's shot really well. It's very thought-provoking in its conversation about religion in especially our society, what religion can lead people to do, I guess, is the main sort of theme of the show, how far religion can push us, and what people will do for it, sort of thing. The show is often sad, depressing, sort of thing, but it is really fucking good. I definitely, nothing but bangers out of my Flanagan.
All right. I checked out Hustle, the new movie starring Adam Sandler, in which he plays a scout for the Philadelphia 76ers, who, finds a exciting prospect in Spain, played by Juancho Hernan-Gomez, and he sets about bringing him back to America to give him a chance at the NBA. That's kind of there's a lot more to it. There's a lot of troubles with people within the franchise. The CEO, as the power within the franchise has kind of changed hands. He's not getting along with the new guy, so he kind of has to smuggle him in and kind of he has to train him up to be ready to be a professional basketball player. It's a lot of fun. I think, it helps if you know about the NBA. There are a lot of appearances from NBA players, some as themselves, some in other, as fictional characters. I think this movie, is helped greatly by the charm of, Adam Sandler. It's a more serious role, but, he has his zingers and, makes his snide remarks and that kind of stuff. And that's really fun. The basketball is really good, I think. Pretty good across the board. Juancho Hernan-Gomez is an actual basketball player in the NBA, which works out because there is a scene towards the end of the movie where they're actually at a professional game, and it looks like they've just recorded it pre-game before an actual match, because there's an actual crowd, and there's it all works out when you actually see the match. But really enjoyable. I think it does end with a bit of a whimper. Everything just kind of goes right at the end, so it doesn't have it doesn't earn the feel-good ending that it gets. But yeah, it's a love letter to Philadelphia as well. I feel like there's obviously a lot of love and talk about the city, and it's shot really beautifully. So I would recommend checking out Hustle on Netflix. Adam Sandler, when he gets a cool role, and I believe he's a big basketball fan, so cool passion project.
I think he's a massive.
And LeBron James is a executive producer, so that's how they were able to get so much access, and all of these players coming in and doing random stuff. I think it's pretty great. Dylan, you checked out Bill Burr Presents Friends Who Kill. So this is one of the things that was part of Netflix Jerk Fest that they filmed, I believe.
Yeah, so the other stuff was like that Dave Chappelle thing, which I'm not going to watch, and whatever else. But yeah, I thought this was like anything with that has the setup is Bill Burr comes out, he does a like a 10-minute set or whatever it is, and then he introduces someone else, and then comes out and introduces the expert. Like he comes out, let's give a hand for whoever it was, and introduces the next person. There's a few bigger name people in here, like Jimmy Carr, Roy Chang, who the fuck else was I thinking? Michelle Wolf is also in this.
Okay.
And then there's a few, the rest I wasn't too, I wasn't familiar with it also. I think I liked, like, Bill Burr's set was good. Jimmy Carr's was meh. Michelle Wolf's was meh. This lady, Stephanie Tolov, I didn't mind. That was interesting. And then there was a bit where these two dudes come out. I don't know what the actual names are. Anyway, they were introduced as Clickin' Mics or something like that. Which is apparently because they do stand up together. They've been in a bunch, so like I'm sure I've seen them before, but never actually I've never seen any of the stand up or anything. But yeah, they're introducing as knocking mics because I think they just come out and shoot the shit and just try and like tear each other's a new asshole. And like if they do a good zinger, they knock their mics together, or like good job or something like that. They were quite enjoyable because Bill Burr actually came out and got in on that a little bit, so that was fun. And then Ron Chang comes out at the end and literally just sings a song for some reason. Yeah, so it was a bit of a mixed bag, but I enjoyed it for what it was. Well, definitely for what it was. I mean, there's just some stuff like Jimmy Carr's whole bit is literally I know we're all doing saying this, but like I enjoy Jimmy Carr, but like at some stage I need these comedians to I need to stop hearing just jokes about people getting offended by jokes. Like I'm like, I understand that this is a bit like you all think that you are all apparently everyone's going to get cancelled now, but like all these comedians who get cancelled don't actually get cancelled, but no. Like everyone just makes it their bit. Like every comedian or so many comedians I feel are just doing like a lot of the stand up is now just making jokes about potentially being cancelled or something, and like it's just not funny to me anymore. Like, and that's not me being like, oh, because your jokes are bad. It's just like I'm like, as content for a show, everyone's doing it to the point that I don't think...
it's not unique or funny.
No, yeah. So these bits about being cancelled, they're not funny or they're not entertaining. It's just, So.
All right, well, let's move into something funny and entertaining. Keep sweet and pray and obey.
Definitely not funny. I guess I could call it entertaining because I enjoyed watching it, I guess. But this, so I have a thing for, I feel like, documentaries about just fucked up, like... religion stuff. Yeah. I think this was 4 episodes, limited series doc, I think. Yeah. But the premise is, what's the dude's name? Let me try to find it first. Warren Jeffs. Right, yeah. So they're a fundamentalist church, which I never really understood like what the difference was, but they want to be able to practice polyamory, polygamy. Is that how you say it?
Yes.
Like if you're polygamous, polygamy.
They want to have multiple wives.
They want to have multiple wives. And they believe, originally, the part of the pitch for the religion, which is apparently something that older religions used to do and then they stopped doing it. But the pitch for the religion is that, I don't know, something about Jesus did, or he was with multiple women. So anyway, that's the pitch of the religion. And when they first introduced it, I was like, you know what? I think old religions are weird. So like, just add this to the running thing. But I'm also not like anti polygamy if that's what you're into, so I'm like, whatever, like we'll go with it. And at first it just seems a little bit weird, but what happens at some stage is this younger dude, one that like the main dude dies, who's like the head of the church, their fucking messiah or whatever, and he was a weird old dude who had like 50 wives, and you hear stories about him being weird. But then shit goes off the rails when his son takes over, this younger dude, and he just turns the place into a not only a weird cult sort of place, but then also, of course, we get into let's just start marrying young girls. Let's just start let's start using people's young girls for sex. You know what I mean? Like, you should be allowed to marry a 12-year-old or whatever. And, like, you know, all this sort of shit that's obviously fucked up. Yeah, there's so much, like, weird, like, the amount of time it takes them or some of these people to get caught. And the fact that at the end of the documentary, like, and I don't think this counts as a spoiler. Like, I'd suggest watching it because it is definitely, like, if you like these sorts of docos like I do, it's a good one. Netflix aren't always bangers with these, but this is a good one. The thing that's fucked up is by the end of it, a lot of people they've been interviewing who had, like, left or got out of it or, like, because quite often these women, because they would be married to multiple people, they have massive families, you know, technically. Because they could, you know, one woman could be giving birth to, she could be giving sons and daughters to multiple men. She could be married to multiple men. And that means their families become massive. And there's a couple women they're interviewing who have left the church at the end who's like, I have got 4 of my daughters out or whatever, but like 10 of them are still there. And I can't get them out. And even after, like, a lot of stuff gets put into light via, like, legal proceedings and all these sorts of things, a lot of people still believe in this dude and, like, the teachings and all this sort of stuff. Totally in. A lot of people still try. Like, it's of course it's fucked up, but as a documentary, I think it's good. I feel like if this had been 5-6 episodes, I would have got to a point where I'm like, you're dragging this long, and I've had this recently with some Netflix stuff where I'm like, this 6 episodes. This feel like it could have been 4. This was 4 because it was the perfect length. So I'm very pleased.
So it's
with
good.
That. Yes,
it's good.
It is.
How long are the episodes? Like an hour?
They're an hour. They're an hour each. So it's just 4 hours.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm gonna check that out. All right. Well, that's everything that we've been watching for this week. We'll move into some film news, but we're going to do things a bit different this week.
Whoa.
We'll kick things off with our What Do You Want to Watch top 3.
Definitely in the top 3.
Whoa,
Just blowing everything up.
Yeah,
blowing the process.
What the hell's going on?
Well, I figured, you know, the big news, kind of a generator of a lot of news this week, was Netflix Geek Week. So this week's top 3 is our top 3 things from Netflix Geek Week. So I figured that would be an easy starting point for the news this week. So Dylan, what's your number 3?
My number 3. So there was no rules. It was just like literally. It could have had like
just anything from the 5 days, I guess.
Yeah. My number 3 is the very short but first footage that we got of Jenna Ortega as Wednesday Addams in the upcoming Wednesday series being directed by Tim Burton. Yep. I'm very keen for this. I've been watching a lot more Jenna Ortega over the last 18 months. She's very good in like everything I've seen her in. Of course, Scream was like a major thing, and then she's also in X, and previously she'd been in Babysitter's Club, but I didn't like link that up until after the fact. And
very similar projects.
Yeah, very similar. The Fallout, which I really enjoyed, that's probably one of the better things I've watched this year as well. She looks really good, I think, as Wednesday. Like spot on in that video. I think like fits great. Knowing that Christina Ricci is going to be in this fills me with a lot of happiness. The fact that she's going to be in this at all. And I just feel like this has the potential to be. I like the Addams Family. Like I'm an Addams Family. Like I used to watch the cartoon a lot as a kid. Very much enjoy the Addams Family. I've watched the live action movie and stuff. Of course, I'm not going to say like I'm some super fan of the original thing. Like I'm not that like cool. But the animated thing and the movie and all that sort of thing, totally all about it. I think this could be really cool. Tim Burton's like been on a losing streak for a while, but surely this is the sort of the comeback I feel. So, but at least based on what I saw, I'm very keen for this. Very keen.
Yeah, it definitely looks pretty good, and like obviously someone who doesn't know a lot about Jenna Ortega, but I've seen her. Like, I wasn't convinced she was going to be Wednesday, but yeah, she looks the part while not being looking like somebody in cosplay. You know what I mean? Yeah. So I was impressed. All right, my number 3 was the featurette they put out for the live-action adaptation of the animated series One Piece. So, of course, this is the anime that has like a gazillion episodes. Apparently it's about to finish its final arc, so it's finally coming to an end. But they're doing an adaptation of the series, which focuses on Luffy a pirate on the Grand Line. So there's a bunch of ships in the manga that are crazy designed, and they built the freaking ships. It's crazy. These massive, like, life scale ships, like somewhere in South Africa apparently, that they've built in these crazy looking designs.
I did watch this. They have like the
full sets.
Yeah, they got like them building them, like and all that sort of stuff. It's pretty cool.
It's super impressive. So there's not a fantastic track record. Yeah, there's not a fantastic track record.
Does this go more than one season, do you reckon? Or
I'm going to say yes. I'm putting my money on this one going more than one season. Okay.
What makes you think it'll break the curse of
Hope?
Cowboy Bebop.
You know, because it's so long, they're just used to anything. I think at this point, you know, I don't think it has the cult status that Cowboy Bebop has because of its short length. Whereas this is
even prior to that, like the Netflix Death Note movie.
Yeah, that wasn't great. No. I believe they funded the Full Metal Alchemist live action movie that is getting a sequel. I think that wasn't fantastic. So yeah, hopefully this is the one that opens the floodgates and all the animes come into live action American. You know, they finally make Akira.
No,
right.
Just leave that. I reckon. That's when I'll get angry.
All right, Dylan, what's your number 2?
My number 2 is a series called 1899. It got a trailer. I'm excited for this because if you watch the trailer, at some stage, in the middle of the trailer, pops up with the words and says, "From the creators of Dark." And oh boy, if that isn't enough to get you excited, should be enough to get me excited.
Is it in English?
The pitch, I'll just read the synopsis if I pull it up here quickly. It says, multinational immigrants traveling from the old continent to new encounter a nightmarish riddle aboard a second ship adrift on the open sea. The trailer is like a bit confusing, but it very much like Dark. It seems to be teasing some supernatural element or something at play here. I was interested though watching it. I was like, oh, it's in English. That's and it didn't seem like it was actually dubbed. Like it seems like it's just straight in English. So I was like, okay, well, there you go.
There we go.
A lot of the cast is from Dark or literally every other. I think nearly every major star of any non-American Netflix series is in this. Just about. Like I was flicking through before.
It's crazy. The entire cast of Squid Game's in this.
No, not quite Squid Game, but like European wise, I'm pretty sure all the major successful series that most people love.
I swear nearly.
Hey.
Omar Sy from Lupin, is he in this?
No, actually no. Okay. I think he's a bit too
a bit too big.
Yeah, he's a bit too big. But yeah, a lot of the same cast of Dark's in this as well, so I was happy to see like a bit of the actors from that, so that's cool. But yeah, obviously Dark, one of my favorite shows of recent memory. Absolutely fantastic. So another Netflix show from those writers and the same director as well. And the director directs everything as well, so it's like a continuous like tone and everything. You don't have other people coming in. Not saying that's a bad thing. I'm just, you know, but I feel like as someone who wished more people watch Dark, and I think that show's written so well, I'm hoping that this show is as good solely because if it is fucking fantastic, which I hope it is, knowing that it's actually in English and that other people may watch it because of that, that's a big plus, I guess. But yes, I'm very keen for this.
Okay. Look forward to that. My number 2 is the animated show from Kid Cudi, Intergalactic. Which
is it a TV show? Isn't it just like a companion to his album or whatever? Like I'm confused.
I don't know. They pitch it as an adult animated project, so you know maybe it is a tie-in to his album. But okay, it's based on his upcoming album with the same name.
Okay, yeah. I knew there was some,
There's some tie-in, but there's a solid, really big cast of like, you know, Scott Mescudder, Timothy Chalamet, Jessica Williams, Vanessa Hudgens, Keith David, a whole bunch of people involved. It's got a very cool animation style. It almost looks kind of like Into the Spider-Verse, I guess. It's got that like painted or like draw 2D looking 3D animation style. But then it's just a show about a guy trying to fall in love. Seems like a cool premise to me. So yeah, that's something I'm looking forward to here. So Dylan, what is your number one thing from Netflix Geek Week?
Well, following on from something else I mentioned before, my number one is the upcoming Mike Flanagan series, The Midnight Club, which got its first teaser trailer during the I think it was the TV show Day One or whatever thing they called it.
Yeah, series one.
Yeah, so
Series
it's a
Day.
show. Yeah, it's a show about a bunch of teenagers at some like hospital or whatever, terminally ill patients who gather at midnight to tell spooky stories, and that they make a pact that if one of them, whichever one of them dies first, because they're terminally ill, they swear they'll come back and contact them from the grave. Ooh. And that's all I need to know. All I need, like the teaser, not much to go on. However, I'm fully admitting that, like, even if there was no teaser and just a poster, this still probably would have been my number one thing because, yeah, it's Mike Flanagan.
Because of the creatives involved, yeah.
Yeah, like Mike Flanagan has done nothing wrong. I cannot stress enough how good it is to have someone who is as consistent. Even if you were like, oh, that wasn't quite as good as this other thing, like, I was like, Haunting of Bly Manor, not quite as good as The Haunting of Hill House, still fucking good. Like, it's still, like, okay. There's consistency here to be excited about, Ash. I wish you could appreciate it.
Maybe if you did something a bit lighter,
He does. You could actually watch Midnight Mass. It's not scary at all. You could actually watch it. But tonally, it's deep. Whether or not you could appreciate that. Ugh.
All right. Yeah, so The Midnight Club is coming October 7th, and Dylan watch it June next year.
Fucking, I bet not go, because there was so much happening last year when it came out. That was my problem. Like, and I kept having to put it off. Like, no, I'm gonna watch this. No, I'm gonna watch this.
No. You need to make time. My number one got a new trailer, bunch of posters, and a release date for The Sandman. Of course, is the adaptation of Neil Gaiman's beloved DC Comics series. Looks fantastic. Very much like covering. The trailer is pretty much just covering events of the first, like, comic book of, like, Sandman's been trapped, which we saw in the first trailer, and now he's finally broken out. We get to see Jenna Coleman as Joanna Constantine, who apparently surprised people because who don't understand, like, she's a relative of John Constantine. They just did they
recast John Constantine as a woman.
They technically can because, they use John Constantine in modern day in the comics or whatever, but, it's not that big a deal. Yeah, I'm really excited for this one. This is coming August 5th. So, a lot of some exciting things coming up for Netflix. Anything else from Geek Week you were like, that's pretty cool?
The Arcane behind the scenes series.
That is something that I'm actually pretty keen to check out. That almost made my list.
Yeah. Off the top of my head, that one comes to mind. The Sea Monster animated movie, is that what it's called?
Sea Beast, I'm gonna say.
Sea Beast. Yeah. That also is very cool. I can't think of anything off the top of my head. Those are the two that spring to my mind.
I did appreciate, what was it? Cyberpunk Edge Runners animated series coming September from Studio Trigger, who did Promare and a bunch of other different pretty well-regarded animated series. Of course, based on the Cyberpunk 2077 game from CD Projekt Red. Hopefully it doesn't get delayed.
Hopefully the characters actually the AI and stuff and
there's no missing clips or
the
characters don't get stuck in walls or something.
Let's hope for the best though.
We'll hope for the best. That's cool. There's a bunch of different series that have been renewed for second seasons. A lot of things have been finished filming that I'm excited about. Swift Tooth's finished filming. They've put out a teaser trailer for Lock and Key Season 3. Apparently that's the final season. I didn't know that was the final season, but I'm happy that it is the final season. Round it out, finish it up. Some cool stuff. A lot of stuff to get excited about for Netflix, prop them up. I did watch like the animation day, and I couldn't help myself from thinking, man, this would be much longer if they hadn't cancelled everything. So yeah. Also, day 4 was like fully devoted to Stranger Things, which I think was cool.
Crazy.
Like having full-on discussions about the series and that kind of stuff. Of course, they released some more information about Stranger Things, I believe. Like season 5, there's going to be a time jump.
Yeah, they confirmed
Unsurprising.
100% there will be a time jump, and I was like, that's all I need to know, because I can only believe these kids are young so far. Like, let's just thank God there's going to be a time jump.
I mean, the other thing they did was say they're going to release it all in one go. They're not going to do like a weekly thing.
I mean, but why do people think they were going to do a weekly thing? Like, why suddenly switch to
I
that
don't know. People are like, hey, we want to have it. I think people want it to be weekly.
I wish it was weekly, but like, I wouldn't expect them to do that in the final season. At this stage, it's like, just
I don't. I don't think they appreciate that Netflix doesn't care why you want it to be weekly.
No, I'm
you
sure
want it to be weekly so you can all have discussions about what happened each week, you know?
Yeah.
Netflix doesn't care about you having discussions. They don't care if the series like trends for 6-7 weeks. You know? They want to have all the eyes on that day, that weekend, have as many people watch it as possible, and then they could go, hey, a gazillion people watched it in the first 7 days.
Yeah. But ultimately, they can do whatever they want. I'll watch it either way. I'm going to stand by that I would prefer something like Netflix to be weekly. Something like Stranger Things to be weekly, but
yeah, for content reasons. Alright.
well, even if we wasn't doing content, I think I'd still just prefer it to be weekly.
Yeah.
Talk to people, each episode at work, and, break it down, just general life, even if it wasn't doing content, yeah.
Yeah. Alright. Surprising news this week, or at least it was surprising to me. The long-rumored sequel to Todd Phillips' 2019 film Joker is currently in development. Phillips shared a series of photos on Instagram accounts showing the red-covered script adorned with the working title, Joker, Folie Dieu. The second photo he shared was of Joker star Joaquin Phoenix seemingly reading the script. All the post does not confirm whether the project was greenlit or if Phoenix will be returning to the role that landed him an Oscar. It does confirm that work is being done on the film. Dylan, is this a good idea, bad idea? Why is this happening?
It's a good idea. The film made a lot of money, right? Did well.
That's true.
Won an Oscar. Plenty of reasons to make a sequel. Do I care? No. I can understand why.
Yeah. Do you think this is a movie that needed a sequel?
No,
I guess
the whole
no
point,
movie needs a sequel, but
yeah, I felt the whole point was it was supposed to just be a standalone story, and that was the whole idea. But yeah,
but it was too successful
it was too successful.
Leave it alone. Yeah, I was kind of shocked when I saw the images. I'm like, wow, they're really doing it, especially when a lot of people turned on that movie pretty quickly. I know it won like I think it was the Golden Lion or something. So, it was well regarded, but I mean, what movie are they going to rip off for this one? They can't do King Kong again.
Wolf of Wall Street.
I'll admit, I would watch the Joker do Wolf of Wall Street. You could almost bring back Margot Robbie to play the same role again as Harley Quinn.
Yep.
So it's there. So yeah, this is it is still very much in development. This may or may not happen, but if Joaquin Phoenix is reading the scripts, I doubt he is contractually obligated to do a sequel.
No.
You know what I mean?
No. I highly doubt he would have signed on to do the first one if he was signing a contract that said he had to do more than one.
Yes. So, would they do the movie if he wasn't on board?
No.
Probably.
No, I don't think they would. I don't think they would do it, a sequel about him.
I don't know. I feel like they would. Because, screw it. At this point, anybody can be the Joker. We don't care. It's not that important. But yeah, that's the thing that's happening. Sorry, Scream fans, but apparently Neve Campbell is not returning for Scream 6. Deadline brings disappointing news that franchise stalwart Neve Campbell won't be returning as the Incomparable's final girl, Sydney Prescott. Even worse, however, the report indicates that the decision comes down to a matter of money. Rumours have abounded lately that Campbell wouldn't be rejoining the franchise for another round at Ghostface Go To Target, which the actor herself confirmed a deadline. Sadly, I won't be making the next Scream film. Campbell went on to say, "It's been a difficult decision to move on. To all my Scream fans, I love you. You've been very incredibly supportive. I'm forever grateful to you and to what this franchise has given me over the past 25 years. As a woman, I've had to work extremely hard in my career to establish my value, especially when it comes to Scream. I felt the offer that was presented to me did not equate to the value I have brought to this franchise." Dylan, why are they being so stingy?
Yeah, I've seen a lot of people's weird reactions to this, which is like, oh, well, she should just take whatever. I'm sure she's only going to be in it for like half, because in the last Scream, she's not in it. Like, she doesn't have that much screen time. Like, spoilers. She shows up like in the last act. That's it. So, but at the end of the day, I think what she's saying is 100% correct because you know damn well any other major star player of any franchise, if they're a male, they're going to show up and they're going to get like billions of dollars to shop for 5 minutes. So it's not about the amount. It's just about. I don't think it's a money thing. Like it's just it's a money thing, but I think it's more about
it's a
the
principle,
point.
yeah.
It's a principle, than an actual dollar amount thing. So I think it's totally fair. I hope that maybe this could be turned around. I think even if it doesn't, I'm not it's not going to ruin the movie for me personally. I feel like. And I'm not going to hold it even against the directors because ultimately this is a studio thing and it's not the two directors. It's not that they could really want the studio to pay for her. Studio can refuse. So that's I
mean, the crazy thing is they're filming now, aren't they?
Yeah,
I feel like
so.
it's pretty close to being in production. So
yeah, well, it's supposed to come out March or something like that.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, well, I mean, horror movies are pretty they don't have a lot of posts, so.
Yeah.
We shall see. I'm still keen either way.
Yeah, I think I saw somebody, as someone who knows nothing about Scream, someone posted Sydney's story has kind of been, it feels like it's run its full course.
Sydney's story very much felt like it was done at 4, 100% done at 4. Her coming back in the last one for what she does
kind of sets up.
It was it kind of definitely closed the lid on her story. I felt. So yeah, I think her not coming back is actually sort of fine
probably for the best
franchise. Yeah, in the long run, bringing back other characters like Kirby, which is the exciting casting point. There's a character that people loved from 4. That you could bring back and doesn't feel worn out or whatever. But at this stage, Sydney has a family. She doesn't live in the fucking. She's moved on the other side of the country to get away from all this. It's fine.
It doesn't matter. Yeah.
Just leave her in peace.
All right. Good news for Ghostbusters fans. A couple of new projects were announced on Ghostbusters.
Is it good news?
I mean, if you're a fan of Ghostbusters,
Afterlife.
Yeah, if you're a fan of it, then you'll be happy that there's a sequel coming. They've confirmed that it's going to be set in New York City. They did say it was a Spengler family, so I assume they're bringing that whole family back to the Roadhouse. So yeah, I think even the working title, the code name for the film is Roadhouse. So that's happening. We're also getting an animated film and an animated series of Ghostbusters. The Ghostbusters series coming to Netflix. Is this too much Ghostbusters?
I think the animation stuff is potentially the most exciting there, depending on what characters and stuff that's based upon. As for the movie, I can't get excited about that because I can't not picture that just being terrible. Given where the movie ends, and the final shot of that movie is Ecto driving across a bridge, and it's not the main characters in it driving; it's definitely someone else. And I don't know. I just feel like this movie is just bound for again nostalgia fuckfest bullshit that I don't care for at this stage. I really don't, especially after what they did at the end of that movie, which I just thought was terrible.
I'm looking forward to it. I think there's a potential for that to be really fun and I enjoyed that cast, and if they're all coming back, I'll be super keen.
They're going to be like adults now, right? Though
It's like a couple of years.
Yeah, what time
It's only been that long. But yeah, if Finn Wolfhard, Grace McKenna. I don't know if they'll be able to bring podcast across the country, but he should be. Can you imagine him and like Dan Aykroyd talking about crazy ghost stuff? That sounds like sure winning stuff to me. Or having Kim on his podcast. Okay. Maybe that's the thing. They moved back to New York City, and podcast is visiting, so he can interview Dan Aykroyd's character for his podcast. That's how they get the band back together. And then ghosts happen. A ghost in a painting, definitely. It has to be. But yeah, I mean, the animated series seems cool. I remember, the animated, the new Ghostbusters, I want to say. Not the second series, but like Extreme Ghostbusters, that's what it was. A bunch of random characters. So, if they go down that line, that would be cool. But an animated film, I don't know. That seems weird. But yeah, Ghostbusters. We're getting more of it. Last story I wanted to touch this week. We got confirmation that that Thunderbolts is a project that Marvel is working on. Of course, Thunderbolts in the comics is very similar to the Suicide Squad in DC Comics, in which, it's a team made up mostly of super villains. So the director they've got on board is attached is Jake Schreier, who previously directed Robot and Frank, the Frank Langella film in which he plays an old man with a robot. Love that movie. He also directed Paper Towns, the adaptation of the Hank Green novel starring Cara Delevingne. There's been rumors about all the different cast members. Of course, there's been a bunch of villains that are on the loose, including like Baron Zemo, U.S. Agent, Florence Pugh's character. I can't remember what her name is right now, but all I know is she says Kate Bishop really great. Whole bunch of different people. Dylan is Thunderbolts is something you want to see, especially from the start.
I feel like Baron Zemo's in this, right?
Gotta be.
That would make sense.
Doing his dance.
Doing his dance. I feel like that would make sense. Sadly, of course, we won't get William Hurt in it after his passing. Otherwise, there's been versions of the Thunderbolt team that I've liked in the comics. I don't think any of them, though, are possible or would work in like the MCU. But as a team, I like them. So I don't know about the director. I don't think he's done anything that really suits what I would picture Thunderbolts TV show as, but won't hold that against him. But yeah, I mean, I'm mildly interested, but yeah, it totally depends on the team and the content and like who's leading and the general direction and what storyline you're trying to do. Like, I'd love a lot more like secret espionage sort of, thing like that rather than I don't know, Suicide Squad-esque attempt. I don't know if that makes sense, but yeah, that.
Yeah. I think there's the potential there. I think it's clearly something they've been building towards, especially with a lot of these villains, like on the loose, not being killed, which is very unnormal for Marvel movies, not tying them up. So, yeah, it makes sense that a Thunderbolts movie could be down the line, especially when they've pretty much said they're not making any more Avengers movie. You need these characters to team up in something, so that's cool. Again, this Jake Schreier doesn't seem like a good choice based on his track record, but he apparently comes from a similar, like a production company called Waverly Films, which John Watts was a part of, and Waverly Films like helps produce Homecoming. So like, I think that might be the in, like, as to where that's come from, helping work on those projects. So yeah, I guess we'll see. I mean, if it's a Marvel movie, you don't need to have the greatest track record, I don't think, So yeah. Let's wrap up this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch with some thumbs for trailers. Of course, you can find all the trailers for this week in the show notes below, or you can find them over where we post the podcast over at explosionnetwork.com. First trailer for this week is The Menu, directed by Mike Millard, starring Anya Taylor-Joy, Nicholas Hoult, Ralph Fiennes, Hong Chow, Janet McTeer, Judith Light, and John Leguizamo. Young couple Margot and Tyler travel to a remote island to eat at Hawthorne, an exclusive restaurant run by celebrity chef Slowick, who has prepared a lavish molecular gastronomy menu where food is treated as conceptual art, but his approach to cuisine has some shocking surprises for the wealthy guests. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer / this kind of more of a teaser, really?
Oh, I'm really keen. I don't know exactly what's going on, but yeah, it's like this chef is there. Ralph Fiennes is such a presence on screen. I think that's like a great piece of casting. Overall, the cast looks great. You've got some, big name players in here. For I don't know, a plot that seems like it's a Blumhouse production or some weird thing like that. But yeah, like there's the chef's putting on some games or something. I don't know exactly what's going on, but I'm keen to learn more. That's for sure. It's a weird trailer, and Anya Taylor-Joy is apparently going to be in every sort of genre and style and movie possible. But yeah, there's that part with Nicholas.
She's not going to be in anything for a while, She's filming Furiosa right now, so I mean,
that's true. I'll film that for like.
That's going to take a while, yeah.
But yeah, really, double thumbs up for it. I don't fully understand what I'm watching, but it looks weird. I'm down.
Yeah, I'm going to give it 2 thumbs up as well. I think it's like eerie and unsettling, while also having like funny moments of like them asking about the food and like that kind of stuff, and Anya Taylor-Joy like very much not being interested in what's any of this stuff. I think one of my favorite moments with the trailer is like Ray Fiennes is doing the clapping thing constantly. She's like, is he going to keep doing that? And I think that perfect like gift that people should use going forward. So yeah, this is coming to cinemas 24th of November is what has been slated. So hopefully that's true for here in Australia. Next trailer, we've got The Princess, directed by Levan Kitt, starring Joey King, Dominic Cooper, Ola Korolenko, and Veronica No. When a beautiful, strong-willed princess refuses to wed the cruel sociopath to whom she is betrothed, she is kidnapped and locked in a remote tower of her father's castle. With her scorned, vindictive suitor intent on taking her father's throne, the princess must protect her family and save her kingdom. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer?
I hated this at first until like the twist or whatever happened, I guess. But yeah, that first little bit, I was like, "What the fuck am I watching this? Like, what is the? This looks terrible. Like, this looks just B grade." And then by the end, I was like, "You know what? Maybe." So I'm gonna go 1 up, 1 down.
Yeah, I'm gonna go 1 up, 1 down as well. I think it's got what the Matt Groening fantasy show on Netflix vibes, very similar. I can't remember what the name of the show is, but it's got a very similar thing where the princess is not very princess-like. That's got a similar thing here where, she's yelling and grunting and that kind of stuff and clearly kicking ass and that kind of stuff. But it definitely looks B-movie-esque, and that song has been overused and, like, tainted by Ronda Rousey. So, I mean, there could have been something else to score this too. So, yeah. So this is one of those Hulu originals. So I assume it's coming to Star, but it's definitely coming to Hulu in America on July 1st. I've seen it apparently is coming to some cinemas on August 11th in Australia, so that might be an indication of when it's coming here, but no confirmation there. Next trailer, Black Adam, directed by Jamie Colette Serra, starring Dwayne Johnson, Aldous Hodge, Noah Centineo, Sarah Sahi, Marwan Kenzari, Quintessa Swindell, Bodhi, Sebungui, and Pierce Brosnan. Nearly 5,000 years after receiving the ultimate mighty powers of the Egyptian gods and being imprisoned just as quickly, Black Adam is freed from his earthly tomb, ready to unleash his unique form of justice on the modern world from his iron paradise, thanks to Zoa energy drink. Dylan, what do you think of this trailer for Black Adam?
Yeah, I'm going 2 thumbs down. I don't think it looked good at all. It was like the most paint by numbers superhero looking trailer thing I think I've seen in quite some time, and not a single moment of this got me excited to go to the cinema and watch it. So yeah, I'm gonna say two strong 2 thumbs down.
Yeah, this would also 2 thumbs down for me. It just did not incite any interest at all. And, I'm interested in, like, checking it out because, Black Adam, bad guy. He's cool in the comics, generally. A bit different, But, yeah, this did very little to pique your interest. I think, hopefully there's, like, a Red Band trailer or something, like, where, we get to see him cut loose. Otherwise, if it is just a basic family-friendly film...
That's what's going to be.
But Dwayne Johnson is playing a guy who's slightly bad. He kills the occasional person. Then I think I'll be pretty disappointed. So yeah, this is not hyping me up. So yeah, Black Adam come to cinemas October 20th. Speaking of things that are black, next trailer is Blackbird, developed by Dennis Lehane, starring Taron Egerton, Paul Walter Hauser, Greg Kinnear, Sefidi Murphy, and Ray Liotta, one of his last roles. The true story of a convicted drug dealer, Jimmy Keane, who was offered his freedom in exchange for coaxing a confession out of suspected serial killer Larry Hall and finding out where his victims are buried. Dylan, what did you think of the trailer for Blackbird?
Double thumbs up for this one. I thought it looked really good. Everyone looks not like... Taron Egerton looks really good. Doesn't look like he in a lot of roles he looks the same or he sounds the same, and like this seems
confident, cocky, that kind of stuff.
Yeah, it seems to be stretching a different muscle here, which is quite good. And then what's the other dude?
Paul Walter Hauser.
Paul Walter Hauser just looks spot on. Creepy.
Creepy as fuck.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm going double thumbs up. I'm keen for this. I tried to do a quick Google search. I was like, is it because it says inspired by a true story? I was like, oh, is this...
It is
like,
a true story, yeah.
Yeah, so, yeah, the book it's based upon is spoilers. Because I guess it confirms he doesn't die. But the book is by the main character.
Yeah. I think that was a fair assumption.
Yeah, it's just...
Alright. Yeah, I give it 2 thumbs up as well. I think it's really well done. I don't think it's not like a super original concept, I guess. Like
How
maybe
dare
it's
he
been
not make a super original.
No, you know what I mean? Like we've seen like stories like this before. But it is really well done and looks like really intense. And Taron Egerton, like you said, doing something very different to anything we've kind of seen him do so far. And then Paul Walter Hauser playing creepy dude. Very creepy, very scary, talking about seeing girls in his dreams.
Yeah. He's like,
they're just dreams.
Girls in my dreams, I kill them, but they're just dreams.
So, yeah, they do a good job of setting the stakes of like.
Yeah, that FBI agent's like, if you don't do this, he will get out, and he will kill again, because we will definitely not be able to stop him.
Yeah. There's no way we could just keep him under surveillance day and night until he attempts to kill somebody else. Definitely couldn't do that. Yes, so this is debuting on Apple TV Plus July 8th. Final trailer for this week. Prey. Directed by Dan Trachtenberg, starring Amber Midthunder, Dakota Beavers, Dane Dillegro, Stormy Kip, Michelle Thrush, and Julian Black Antelope. Set in the Kwachi Nation 300 years ago during 1719, the film follows Nauru, a fierce and highly skilled warrior who has been raised in the shadow of some of the most legendary hunters who've roamed the Great Plains. So when danger threatens her camp, she must set out to protect her people. The prey she stalks and ultimately confronts turns out to be a highly evolved alien with a technologically advanced arsenal, resulting in a vicious and terrifying showdown between the two adversaries. So Dylan, this is a crazy Predator prequel. something we've heard in the works a long time. What did you think of the trailer of Prey?
I think it looks fantastic. I think it's like such a wonderful setting for a Predator movie. It's the closest to the first film that the franchise has got since the first film, I feel. Having a character facing off against a Predator in like the wilderness and stuff, that definitely feels very much like Arnie going at it, except for instead of guns and grenades and rocket launchers, bow and arrow. Like it's got a little bit smaller. But yeah, I think the setting's really, really a great idea. Especially after the last film was like multiple predators and, you know, like ex-cons and massive, like all this is just big action, everything. And yeah, there's no reason that these, like the thing is the predator is just this group of species that loves to hunt, and they go around the universe hunting on different planets for the bragging rights. Like, there's no reason you literally just can't make a Predator movie, set it in a random location, and be like, well, Predator showed up here. You know, like there's like, yep, that's a good idea. I think that's a very good idea. So double thumbs up for me.
Yeah, this is double thumbs up for me as well. I think it's like as someone who is probably not going to watch. Well, I might watch this. It's like a cool action movie, and I mean, it's got people that you don't expect, like Native Americans, like First Nation people. So I don't know what the correct term is at the moment, but like involved in like starring in this film. The trailer is really well shot, and like this obviously sets up this girl wanting to prove herself, starts hunting this bear. Bear's pissed, starts chasing her down, and then there's something that kills the bear. And like I think it does a fantastic job of setting up the Predator in this trailer. Yeah. And then, you know, how are they going to handle fighting how are they going to beat the Predator? They've also got to apparently deal with all the white colonists as well. It's like,
there's like that quick second of them like shooting guns or whatever at some point.
It's like, oh no.
My God, they better be shooting at the Predator, not them. Like,
not the people, yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, Dan Trachtenberg, he's good at taking these franchises in weird, like, smaller directions. Or at least so far.
Yeah, he has a good track record. Trachtenberg has a good track record.
Track record, yeah. So this is releasing on Hulu in America on August 5th. No confirmation exactly when it's going to be releasing here in Australia. Probably Disney Plus, I suspect maybe a week or two after.
Why a week or two after?
Well, I'm just going based on Fire Island, the gay Pride and Prejudice movie that released this week on Hulu, and it's releasing next week here in Australia.
Cinemas, wasn't it? No?
No, that was a Hulu movie.
Okay, right.
And now it's in cinema. It's on Disney Plus this coming Friday. Okay. So I suspect maybe a similar pattern.
I hope not.
We'll wait and see.
I want to watch it. I don't want to watch it.
I'll watch it as soon as possible. Yeah, okay. Yeah. Well, you just hit up Disney and see what happens. All right, that's it for this week's episode of What Do You Want to Watch? Let us know what your top 3 things from Geek Week were, or what you thought, what thumbs you would give those trailers by going to explosion.com/Twitter, or by jumping into Discord at explosion.com/Discord. If you want to help us out here at What Do You Want to Watch, leave us a review on Apple Podcasts or on Podchaser, or leave us 5 stars. Anywhere you can leave 5 stars, or just tell people about the show. What?
Just draw 5 stars on your mum's wall.
Sure, why not? Fucking hell. If you like this episode and Dylan's excellent interruption, and think that's worth $1, head on over to our Ko-fi page at explosion.com/support. Of course, go over to explosion.com for all our news, reviews, other podcasts, especially All New Marvelcast, where again we're doing weekly episode discussions of Ms. Marvel. Thank you very much for listening. Until next time, keep watching stuff, I guess.